Welcome to Uncompromised, the podcast where we talk about regenerative agriculture, the economics of farming, and how we can uncompromise the industry and the food that we eat. Today, we're going to get into what happened on the farm this past week. We tried our hand at chicken evisceration, and we got some much needed practice in, and it turns out we're not very good at it. So we're going to dig into that in a little bit. But before we do, consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel. We're on a mission to restore the soil on our Ohio Christmas tree farm, and we're on a mission to bring chestnuts back to Ohio. Is any of this possible? Do you want to find out? If so, I think you're in the right place. So get subscribed, learn with us, and let's talk about the next generation of farmers in America. So with that, I am your host, Kyle, and I'm here with Kevin, who is a business partner on the farm, and also my dad, Scott, who is the owner and founder of the farm. We're also joined by a clouder of cats. There's a word for you.
Is that what it's called?
A group of cats is called a clouder.
A clouder. So like,
Never heard of that.
what is it? Murder of ravens and a
Yeah.
kindness of crows.
Right.
And a clouder?
A clouder of cats.
Clouder of cats.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't know where they come up with those.
What a clouder.
So this clouder of a cat is Tom. We call him Tom.
Tom. Yeah, I don't know their names. What's the other one? The orange one?
So Elliot, and then
Yeah.
the orange one is Joey.
Joey's sitting over there.
Yeah. Yeah, but then Elliot may join us in a few.
Yeah.
We always start off with what happened on the farm this past week. So where do you guys want to start? I know we had a lot going on this week. I'll start with you.
Okay, yeah. I'll mention that I finished up with the deconing. So last Saturday we were down to one tree, and that one tree took me a half hour one day and another 45 minutes next. So was that, an hour and 15 minutes
Right.
to decone one canine fir. And that canine fir probably had at least 500 cones, if not more. And that was the one that you helped actually decone as well, because
The lower.
that went all the way down to the near the bottom. And that
Right.
was probably a 12-foot tree. So it was definitely a handful, but got that done. We now have put our deconing process to bed for the year. And we've moved on to mowing, which is I hear Trudy coming in right now.
Yeah.
Well,
So we're working on mowing to control the weeds.
at least on that side of the operation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So mowing is, since you're done with the deconing phase, mowing is going to take you pretty much all throughout summer, along
Right.
with like weeding. You
Yeah,
usually
so-
do in the beginning of summer. You usually do like a walkthrough where you pull all the weeds, and then you do it again towards the end of the
Yep.
summer.
Yeah,
early
exactly right. So we actually do that 3 times a year. So I've already done it once, where we do a walkthrough, and what we're doing is I'm cleaning as much of the dead limbs out of the trees as possible. And I'm also, during the deconing process, I did this. I'm also looking for anything that's growing underneath the tree. And so like we mentioned a couple times ago, I think, there's typically mulberry. There's typically going to be some poison ivy that grows in there, only on a few trees, not very many. But in June, we'll see a substantial tick up in the amount of mulberry that are growing, because the mulberries will be ripened. They ripen June. So I guess it's late June is when I do my next one, in preparation for the guys that come out and do the trimming. So I always want to get that done, get as much of the mulberry out from underneath the trees, because they grow so rapidly and they'll grow right up through the tree. And so if you don't get them out of there, then when they're doing their thing with their knives, they're going to cut right through that and you never do see it, and it just gets even bigger. So we want to get those out of the way. And then the last time I do it is in late summer. And they're just in preparation for the Christmas season. I'm going through and removing any that I missed before. So those are the 3 times we really do that process of cleaning out the trees.
Yeah, I think you said it, but I missed it. So the shearing, the tree trimming happens in like June? Is that what you said?
No, July. Yeah,
July,
that'll
okay.
happen the middle of July. Usually the week of the 13th of July is when we typically will do that.
And they're already scheduled out or to come out,
They are,
right?
yeah, they typically come at the same time every year, and it's usually the 2nd or 3rd week in July, depending on what, how busy they are, and because this is a small crew that comes out of Michigan, but they start in the February-March timeframe, and they're down in the Carolinas, in Georgia, Alabama, and then they kind of work their way back north. And so they will usually come and visit us in mid-July.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that when that time comes. So around the July timeframe, we'll probably expand on that process a little bit and like the evolution that you've taken when it comes to tree trimming on the farm and all that.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that's an evolution too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, what about the nitrogen issue? I heard that got resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk to that one since
Well,
you've got some familiarity with it.
And some context real quick is the coffee hut, our Coffee and Chestnut was having a nitrogen leak issue with our gas tank and we couldn't find the source of it. We used the nitrogen to make our nitro cold brew.
Right.
And so we've been spending a lot of money on refilling the gas tank. And so
We did the right thing when we decided that we were going to check for any kind of nitrogen leaks, soak down the system, and we both were under the impression that a leak would appear the same way a leak appears when you spray soapy water on a tire that has a leak in it, and you would just immediately see bubbling. Well, we were wrong. But so we went back and forth and kept buying new bottles, kept running out of gas, and just got more and more frustrated. So finally, I decided,
Well, we went through the soapy thing.
we went through the soapy thing.
We soaked everything down,
Didn't see anything.
didn't see anything, and said, can't seem to find it.
Right.
And we only waited a few seconds as we looked at, thinking we're going to see it bubbling.
Right.
But we also did a Teflon. I put Teflon tape
Right.
on all the joints, or all the
fittings.
fittings where you screw them in.
Yep. Went and had the regulator tested by
The
a
regulator
company.
tested. Did all kinds of things.
Right.
Yep.
So at this point, we were kind of at our wits' end and just getting more and more frustrated with it. So decided to reach out to a company that installs beer taps and deals with nitrogen systems. And Thursday, Scott took the coffee hut out to him. He looked at it, sprayed it with soapy water, and waited for about, you said, 10 minutes.
Well, he saw it right away. He said, "There's where your problem is," and I couldn't even see the bubble. I had to take my glasses off and get real close to it, and I could see very fine bubbles. That's what he said. Give it a few minutes, and in a few minutes, that little tiny set of bubbles grew into a foamy, frothy thing, and there it was. And now he checked the whole system otherwise to make sure that everything was good.
Right.
But he said, there's where your problem is.
So ultimately, having him come out was just the right move in every way possible.
Because he did a couple other things too. So, I mean, he was just really good. He looked at the taps and he said, and he felt one of them, it was loose. So he decided he's going to tighten all that up. So he popped something and tightened them up, and I didn't even know you could do any of that. And he did all that for us. And then he cleaned the system for us. And so he hooked it up and cleaned the whole thing. And so I thought that was really good of him too. And then he said, the regulator that we have on there, it had 2 ports to it. And he said, you only need the 1 port. So this one is likely to be leaking at some point in the future. He didn't think it was leaking at this point, but he also didn't like the brand. Yeah. And so he said, you really need to have a more high quality regulator than the one that you have. He happened to have pulled one from a beer company that had a manual system, and they converted it to a more commercialized, bigger system. Had it on his truck. So he said, I'll give this to you for $25. And it had a single port on it. And I said, yeah, absolutely. So in total, it took him 10 minutes to isolate the problem, another 5 minutes to fix it, literally, and to change out the regulator. And then it took him maybe 10 minutes to clean the whole thing, and he was done.
Yeah, that's good.
And
so
we spent a week and a half jacking around on it and going through 5 different tanks.
Yeah, all the money we spent on you.
And then driving, but so we have his number on
speed
dial now, just in case that nitrogen system acts up again.
Yeah, but we're also a lot smarter. I mean, in terms of, you got to be patient with this thing, and if we're seeing a leak again, you got to spray it down, and you got to wait. And so we just didn't know. I mean, that was just out of ignorance. We didn't know that was the I mean, that's what you had to do.
Yep.
So I mean, in retrospect, I wish, I mean, of course you should wait a little bit. but,
Right.
You know,
It was
we're always kind of moving too fast and
right.
and not taking time to let things materialize.
Did he come to the farm or did you drive out to Piqua?
No, neither. So I ended up calling him, and then and I said, hey, you're coming up from Dayton. I'm leaving from Englewood. We're both going all the way up to Pickle. Why don't we just meet in Vandalia, right off of the interstate? He says, yeah, that's great. And so I just told him a place, and we met there.
Oh,
And
that's
so
good.
just it saved him a lot of time, saved me a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so that worked out pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And got a heck of a deal on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
$95 was.
Yeah.
Right.
For a service
Pretty
call like that, I thought that was excellent. And a regulator.
good. And a regulator, yeah.
Real quick, if you're a coffee drinker and you're looking for a solid brand that supports regenerative farmers, check out 7 Weeks Coffee. It's what we use in our coffee and chestnut hut because they're faith-based, they have a great mission, and their Dominican blend is sourced from regenerative farms. They do not sponsor us, but because we use them in our coffee and chestnut hut, we have an affiliate link that we can share with you guys. So if you use our discount code ADVENT, you'll get 10% off of your order, or you can also use the link that's in the description below. It's a great way to support our channel and our farm. You get a discount on great coffee and we get a kickback, so it's a win-win.
I guess the other big thing that we dealt with, well, two more things that we want to, I guess, talk a little bit about. One is the eggs and the problem we're having with eggs at this point, and then the other is chestnuts. So why don't you attack the eggs, and then I'll jump on the chestnuts, and then we'll go from there.
So the eggs is a frustrating one because there's no solution for it.
Well, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So for the past 3 days, maybe more than that.
No, it's more than that.
It's
4
more
or
than
5
that.
days.
So when we moved the
On
fence
Monday,
on
yeah.
Monday, we had a total of 13, 14 eggs.
So normally we're getting 38
Right.
or so eggs a day.
Right.
And so you got how many? 13?
13.
Okay, that was
next
that day.
Next day we got roughly the same amount, maybe a little less. Next day a little bit less. And then last night, 6.
6 eggs.
6 eggs.
That's not good.
No.
Have not
No.
changed anything. They're getting the same amount of water, same amount of feed, same area,
They're
Like,
exposed to the same elements.
same
They're
elements.
outside, no
So-
change in the heat or cooling. The environment hadn't changed at all.
Great temperature this time of year. Like, so there's no factors that are different this year than last year or a month ago versus now. It's all the same, except production has just plummeted out of
Seriously
nowhere.
plummeted. Yeah. And we don't know why.
No idea why.
We don't know why.
You guys have any thoughts? Please put them in the comment section.
Right.
Have you tried looking it up at all?
Yeah, he did.
So it says broodiness, lack of nutrients, and water. Broodiness, mites, and fleas.
Have you checked them for either of those?
I've checked. I don't know how well I'm checking. We've discovered that I'm not the best at noticing small things with leaks in nitrogen system and stuff. So
There's no reason to think, though,
Yeah,
that either mites
Yeah, it seems
or
like a very extreme scenario
Yeah,
that
I
mice or
think
ticks
so.
would cause.
And then I think you would see them, heavy bathing,
Right.
in the dirt, that kind of
some
thing.
molting, something.
Yeah,
There would
I
have
think
to
you would
be.
see some evidence of that. But I mean, we may be wrong, and maybe this is a
And they look healthy otherwise.
right. So we
It's-
haven't figured that one out yet.
So I upped their feed. Just maybe that is the case. I doubt it because it's the same feed, same ration of feed that I gave them all last summer.
Yeah, but you're just troubleshooting at this point.
Troubleshooting.
Right.
And
Then maybe some water.
Right.
I wonder, like, can there get the algae in the water or anything like that?
I clean out.
Yeah,
bucket,
the
that's what
buckets
we
are
clean all the
clean.
time.
There's no
Yeah.
algae on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm
And it's not hot enough yet to even have that kind of
Right.
problem.
right.
So
It's
we're-
weird, just like it makes more sense if like 1 or 2 stop laying eggs because they might have a blockage or something. But
Yeah,
if the whole
egg foul
flock
or
is
something.
just not laying as much, that's so strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, that's a frustrating conversation right now because right now just kind of shooting in the dark. I'll do some more reading tonight and more research tonight, but
Yeah.
I wish we had a wider audience so that people could actually help us out here, but
Well, I think unfortunately that slower production impacts our ability to provide for our customers.
right.
Like we're out at both Covered Wagon and Bushel and a Peck, and we won't have enough this coming week if we stay on par with the direction we're going
Oh, yeah.
to fill the needs that we have.
Right.
So I mean, it does impact us because you wouldn't think at this point when you are down 20 to 25% of your normal production, that's a big issue for
Right.
us. So.
Yeah, yesterday at six eggs was worse than any day we had over the winter.
Oh yeah, yeah. The worst winter day we had was 7 eggs.
Right.
And that was with the 63 hens. So
all right,
Yeah.
well, more on that to come.
yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait for a resolution.
And then on the chestnuts, so we started planting our chestnut seedlings. So our seedlings are good anywhere from 8 to 14 inches.
Yeah. Beautiful looking.
And they look really nice. And so we started the process of planting those seedlings. And so what we do is we go through and we hit the areas that we had done 2 years ago and had replanted last year. And we go through there to make sure that they're either doing good or if they've died for whatever reason. And typically around 20 to 30% of your seedlings are going to die. And so we replace those and we keep moving forward until we're ready to put new seedlings in that haven't been in the ground before. So in the process of doing our first 8 rows, there's 13 seedlings or 13 trees in a row. And the first 8 rows are what we planted 2 years ago. And we were sitting at anywhere from 70 to 80% mortality rate, number one. And then of the remaining 20 to 30%, most of those were just barely green. I mean, it had completely died off and there was new growth starting at the bottom again, which tells us that the root system was okay, but it completely died out.
Yeah.
So what we did was we stopped. We had gone through 7 of our 8 rows. We stopped on the 7th row and just said, we got to figure this out. And we kind of wrestled with it a little bit. I know we talked with you as well, Kyle. And we thought through it and figured it was either too severe a winter, not enough water, or the tubes were creating an environment that was too hot and baking them in the summer time frame. So we discussed this and kind of came up with an idea of we would try putting, we would add more water for sure. So we've upped our watering to at least twice a week, perhaps even 3 times a week, so that because my research, when I did some research on it yesterday, it indicated the number one problem is water. Now we didn't know that at the time we were talking.
Right.
2 nights ago, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 nights ago. So we were gonna, we had a plan. We would leave some in the tubes. We would cut some tubes in half to see if we could get more light in there and not quite as much of the environmental, what we thought is a good thing, but maybe too much of that greenhouse effect was hurting them. And then we would plant some without the tube. So that was our plan. That's what we were going to do.
So the ones you were planting without the tube, you were maybe not right away, but at some point we're thinking about putting metal fencing around all the tubes.
Right. Well, we wouldn't do it right away because chestnuts are a yummy source for deer. They love chestnuts, small seedlings.
Yeah.
So they would consume those in a heartbeat. So we would do that. So it would just be the seedling, no tube. And so the big 7-foot tubes. We wouldn't put a tube in, but we would put the fencing up so that the deer can't actually get in there and eat the seedling.
Yeah.
So then I did research yesterday morning, but we'll go ahead and
real quick, when you cut so it's 7 feet, when you cut it in half, what is it like? Is it about 3.5 feet?
About 3.5 feet, yeah.
Okay.
And so that allows us to see it. So even with the 7-foot tube, we can't see if the seedling is actually growing or not.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is kind of pry it open. It's really hard to do sometimes.
Right.
And then you can't even tell then.
Right.
And so we have to loosen everything up and lift
undo
the
zip
tube back
ties.
up.
Yeah.
Thank goodness all the zip ties loosen fairly
Yeah,
easy.
or the releasable zip ties.
Yeah, because we've had to open almost every single one of them.
Absolutely. So then what we decided to do after doing some research on it and realizing, you know, the people who plant chestnuts for a living and all that kind of good stuff, they were saying for the first couple of years, you got to make sure that the soil is moist all the time. You can't let it dry out a little bit. And so we haven't been doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely been dry. The ground has dried out several times.
Yeah. So that is clearly the most likely problem. Because like you had said, Kyle, the tubes, many growers have been raising chestnuts in tubes for years.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
7-foot
wouldn't
tubes
think
too.
that's
So that's the
a
other
problem. And then chestnuts have lived in this environment forever. So I wouldn't think that's
thing.
so.
So
The
winter
water is
wouldn't be
one
the problem either.
Yeah, winter wouldn't be the problem. So it just makes sense that it's the
And also
lack
that's
of
the
water.
that's the best scenario too, because we have more control over that because we can go out there and
Exactly.
water them. So
Exactly. So that's what we'll do. We have a 250-gallon IBC tank that we pull behind our cubby and go out there and do watering with it.
kind of sucks for you though, because you're the one that mostly has to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that'll be so at 3 days a week now. It's roughly, as of right now, it's roughly 3 hours every time I water.
Oh, really? 3 hours to do the whole thing?
Yep.
Yeah. So what we do, you want to explain your process?
I mean, yeah. So it's how many gallons? 150?
250-gallon tank.
200.
And then we put about 200 gallons in it if you fill it up to that one level.
So then we have a Ryobi transfer pump, battery powered, 18 volt, that we use at the slowest rate, and we'll drive with an extendable wand in the Kubota. And for about 20 seconds, we'll just, at the lowest setting, pump out. It's about 2 gallons in 20 to 25 seconds.
Half gallon.
It's a half gallon?
It's a half gallon.
I'm all over the place with
Yeah.
wrong numbers.
Yeah. So it's a half gallon in about 20 seconds
Okay.
that you're putting down the tube.
Right. Directly onto the plant,
Right.
onto the tree, which is, so we were talking about this today. So you remember when we first started that and we were doing it with gravity fed water?
Right, yeah.
And we were holding it there for about a minute and a half. And you could just see the water not even
Cool.
soak into
Yeah.
the ground, and it would just run off the surface.
Yep.
So now I will pick the wand up out of the tree tube just to make sure that the water is on, because it immediately absorbs into the soil most of the time.
Yeah, because you're putting it right down into the tube.
Right
so
on.
it's-
So you're concentrating that half gallon of water. You're concentrating it onto about a 4-inch in diameter spot, and it just absorbs immediately.
Yeah. So that tube is 7 feet tall. So you've got a wand. So you're sitting on the cubby and you have a wand that reaches up to the top, and it has it hooks so that it goes right straight down, and it has a spray spread on it.
Yeah, the shower settings.
Yeah.
Which is just I found it in the garden section at Home Depot.
Right.
And the only reason we're using that Ryobi water pump is because I remember before we were using the gravity fed, so it was just gravity fed water going through a hose, and it was very slow.
And it was
And-
two-man process.
Yeah,
Two-man process.
it was a 2-man process, and
We're doing it by hose.
someone had the idea to use a water pump,
This guy.
and
Me.
so I
was
saw
fed
a-
up with it.
I saw a cheap water pump. The Ryobi one was super cheap, and because we weren't sure if that was even going to work, it was just like, we're just going to try this and test it out. I was also looking the other day and I was trying to find a more quality one, but they're so expensive.
Right.
They're like 3 times as much as that Ryobi
That
one.
being said, this Ryobi one is already giving us fits. It's doing that thing where it doesn't.
The new
wanna
one
turn
is?
on. Yeah.
Yeah. I by the way, this is kind of irrelevant, but I did get I called the warranty for that, and they're sending a new one over. So
That's great, because I have a feeling we're going to be doing the same thing with this next one. We're just going to
Well,
rotate
I hope
them
you
out.
have the receipt for the one you bought, the second one you bought, because that'll be the warranty that we have to call in for.
It's in the QuickBooks.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yeah.
QuickBooks coming in action now.
Right. So we'll just keep warrantying these things out, or Ryobi can sponsor us and just.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
So
Let's see. So that's where that ended up. So we're going through the process now of replacing. We went through today. We finished up our 14th row, and so we're now into starting in the 9th row, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Those rows are all the stuff we planted last year.
and it's looking better.
Well, they're looking better, but
When I said better,
our standard
they're alive.
has absolutely changed. They are literally alive. I mean, literally just
the
barely
standard.
alive, but they're alive.
It's like our
Down
whole business is representative of that.
hands and knees, just looking. Do you see green?
Yeah.
Give it a tug.
Well,
Is the root
what we
system
learned was
established?
that, if you several of them that we pulled out, the roots were in great shape.
Yeah.
And in
huge
fact, it
root
was all
system.
green. There was greenness around the trunk. And so we knew that the cambium layer was still good, which is the growth layer around the tree, or seedling, I should say. And we saw one, I mean, the roots were still active, which says that it's still alive. It just needs water.
Right.
And so we then decided if they even look like they've got some health to them, we leave them alone. So what's the bottom line? The bottom line to this is all of our trees, every one of them with a very few exception, is starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So we literally have lost 2 years of growth on our trees. Lesson learned. Sometimes it's a hard lesson, but we're going to water much more often.
Right.
Now, we were watering once a week,
Yeah.
but clearly that's not enough. And that was if it didn't rain.
Right.
Yeah. Now we got to water, and so we'll be doing that.
So August, I'll be watering every day.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just have to, and it'll be a team effort. It's primarily on your shoulders as we go through it, but it's a team effort, and I'll do my part as well, as best we can.
Yeah.
Did any of the Americans survive?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Technically, they all survived.
Oh,
A couple of them are going back to day one.
Yeah. But at least 4 or 5 of them are
Still above the grow
still.
tube limit.
Yeah. Well, they're not above. One of those died
There's, I think, 2 above the grow tube
that are
alive.
healthy.
Yes.
what about this one out here?
Yeah, that one's doing okay too.
That one's doing okay.
Is it? There's no sign of distress.
Well, I don't know. We haven't really
We
gone
didn't.
into it to look at it.
We didn't lift that one.
Yeah, but we can see the green on it,
Yeah.
and it's getting water. But they'll all get much more water than they have been getting.
So, yeah. This morning before I went to the coffee hut, I spent about an hour and a half out there and got 130, 140 trees watered.
Right. Yeah, you got 10 rows.
10 rows plus all the Americans. So,
Oh, yeah, right.
So 140.
Yeah, 140. Yep.
Did we hit everything? What else is going on this past week?
I know. I think we hit everything.
that's been the bulk of everything.
I think
for
we hit
this.
everything.
All the most important stuff, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, except for last Saturday, and I think that's where you're going next. is
Yeah.
Yeah.
talking
So
about what you guys did.
yeah, that last Saturday was our foray into chicken evisceration, and it's our second year doing that, not consecutively, but
Right. It's our first year with the bird breed that we're actually going to offer to a consumer.
which is Cornish cross.
Right. Which is a lot easier to eviscerate than Rhode Island Reds and Buff Orpingtons. And
Did you ever-
yields a much better quality.
Yeah. Well, I'll
Did I ever what?
I'll ask that at the end. Never
Oh,
mind.
okay.
So this was also just a test batch. So we only did 6. So it's not high stakes or anything like that. This test batch was important for us to kind of learn, get refamiliarized with it, learn the evisceration process, and make sure that these Cornish cross are going to be adequate to sell to customers. So I want to walk through the entire process, how we do it. I mean, this isn't probably like the best way to do it, and I think this is going to be one of those many examples of on our farm where it's going to happen in iterative processes, and we're going to continue to try new things and evolve the process as much as we can. So this is where we are at currently in 2026. I guess I should say May 2026, because we're probably gonna do this at least one more time.
I hope multiple times.
Yeah, if it goes well. We do intend on selling the next batch, and we're gonna do whole birds first, and then we're just gonna start out slowly, just like we did with our chicken eggs when we first entered the market, and just see how it goes, and try not to take too much of a risk there. Starting with the process, the day before, 24 hours before, there's a couple things that need to happen. What's the one thing that
we do it about 12 hours before we stop serving them food?
Yeah, so cut off their feed.
Cut out their feed, but absolutely make sure that they have access to water. As much water as they want, which keeps the skin, the bird hydrated and everything like that, reduces the chance of you ripping any kind of organs or anything like that, which the last thing you want to do is be in wrist deep inside of something and it starts ripping.
Right.
Like, it's not a good day for anybody.
Yep.
And the other thing that you want to do kind of the day before is, if it's relevant, and that is to like make sure that you might have to move them to another location that were closer to your evisceration process, and make sure that they're close by. And you kind of want to do that ahead of time if you can, because it reduces the amount of stress when it actually comes time to process them. And I think that's a big part of it too, is trying to keep them as low stress as possible.
Right. We did not do that with these 6 birds. Once we get up into a higher number, we'll probably end up moving them the day before, but with 6 birds, they all fit into the same cage, and it was just easy to throw them in the back of the side-by-side in the cage and let them hang out there while they waited.
Yeah.
I guess on the day that you're processing, I think I'll kind of go through each step, and then during each step, I guess we'll like describe all the equipment and the process we do, or the process we go through. I guess it starts with the culling cones. So we have a whole station. We do this whole thing in your backyard, kind of by your garage.
By my garage area.
So the first step is the culling cones, and you have a bucket, or the bucket sits underneath the cone, and then that's where the blood kind of drains into. And then you have all the cones on a stand.
Right. I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. We have, so the treated wood that goes around your garden beds, we stuck those in the ground, tied it together with two 2x4s, put the killing cone up top, and then a 5-gallon bucket is just screwed to the second one. Very simple, very easy, minimal upfront cost. We spent money on kill cones, and we probably didn't need to. You can use traffic cones, you can use buckets, whatever, roll them. So since the last time we did this, let's just say we forgot how much a bird may twitch when you put them in the cone. And we also forgot how to put them in the cone, to be completely honest.
What do you mean?
I mean, you hold them by the 2 feet, let them stop flailing around and stuff, and then you lower them into the cone. We did not hang them by the 2 feet, the first one that we put in.
Yeah, I did that in the subsequent chickens, and that didn't seem to help either.
No, they were just still.
So that was the one struggle that I had, was that I hung them upside down, and I waited a second for them to calm down. And honestly, I waited probably like a minute or two. And then when I processed them, or culled them, as soon as I did that, I had to like quickly put the knife down, which is why I brought out the stand and put that next to it. And then they started flailing around. And so I had to, some of them, actually, the moment I cut their throat, they immediately popped up, and I had to like reinsert them back upside down. And then I was gonna pith them, but I couldn't pith them because I had both hands holding them down. So that was I don't know how to, I guess it might be a 2-person thing, but I'm not sure.
I wonder.
They were so much bigger though.
They were.
Yeah.
They were big birds.
Yeah. So they didn't fit in the cone as well as the other ones that really
they
were trapped in there pretty well.
Yeah, their head went a lot further down.
That might have something to do with it.
Right. So, do you want to talk about the method that we use to actually kill the chicken?
Yeah, so I was pulling, you take their neck and you, in the front of their neck, and you just kind of pull their skin back, and then you take your sticker knife and you just pierce it through that, and you kind of just do a V.
Yep.
So you're cutting both sides of the neck, and that's hitting the arteries,
Right.
or one main artery, I guess, and then
Yeah.
you'll see a big gush come out, and
Yeah, so you kind of fill up towards where the jawbone is, and then you peel out on that skin.
And then as you're going in with the knife, you cut the artery. And as you're coming back around the other way, you cut the other artery.
yeah.
And that just allows them to bleed out quickly. They immediately pass out. Although they are flailing, they don't feel anything. It's just
Right, it's just a normal
right.
reaction. Yeah.
The chicken is not in pain.
It happens. I mean, I think
Right.
they're probably dead within the first 5 seconds,
Right.
even though they have like nerve endings and just
Right.
twitches that happen. But
Yeah.
Okay, so what
So
happens then?
from there, so Kyle does this portion.
yeah, this was my whole job, and then Kevin did all the evisceration part.
Yeah.
So after that, you just let it drain for several minutes until and I hold them down for as long as needed. That's probably 3 minutes or so, and then once actually what I'm doing here is we have 2 cones set up, so I'll do one chicken, and then I'll move on to the other one and have them both there, and then I'll go back to the first one and then move that to the next step, which is scalding. And then while I'm doing that, the other, the second chicken is draining into the bucket. And so by the time I finish that, I can either do the second chicken or fill up the first bucket or the first cone one more time. We only have 6, so I couldn't really get a good operation down, but
Right.
Yeah.
Good
A
rhythm
rhythm.
going.
that's kind of what I was going for there.
It
Yeah.
doesn't help the person eviscerating was super slow.
Well,
I was
trying to
not a
think,
part of
were
this.
you-
I was in the coffee hut.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I don't even know. I guess you were the backup, but I don't.
Yeah, I was the eviscerator last time.
Yeah, I
You're
felt like
much faster than I am.
I'm saying I felt like I was constantly moving and doing something. I maybe
no.
only waited for a minute or
I felt
two.
like I was constantly moving, but I'm so slow at evisceration.
I mean, better than I am. That's why you're
So-
doing it.
But anyways, so scalding, the scalder that we have is a new scalder. And the first time I tested it to get up to temperature, I used the faucet, my wash sink in the garage. And it took about an hour to get up to temp, which is what we use, about 142.
Okay, is the temperature 142?
142. Yep. This time I used my neighbor's well water, and it took about an hour and a half, an hour 45 to get up to 142. So that's what I was going to say earlier about the scalder, is the prep side of it was.
So what's the purpose of the scalder? Why do you have to use it in the first place?
So the scalder, what it does is it loosens all of the feather follicles so they just fall off. And then the loose skin around the feet, the top layer of skin, just, I don't want to use that word, it falls off.
Okay, I mean,
It peels off.
I didn't
It
want
peels
to say
off.
slough.
yeah. Okay,
That sounds more gruesome than it.
The whole thing sounds gruesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be the first time.
yeah.
But
Okay, so the scalder you mentioned 142 degrees.
correct.
What's the issue there? Why? How precise do you have to be with that?
So the scald is like the most crucial part to whether or not you're going to get a good defeather. And when I say a good defeather, I mean all the feathers, for the most part, come off. You're not ripping the skin, because if you have the temp too high, you're going to tear that skin. And that's, one, it's gross. But 2, your product is no longer something that you're going to sell to the public.
Right.
Not at a price that's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. So you can ruin.
You can ruin your
chicken.
product real fast with a
Yeah.
bad scald.
Yeah.
Um,
So what's considered a bad scald? I mean, is it too hot, too cold?
both.
Okay. So
Both.
and we've gone down that road. We've
Right.
had it too hot.
We've had it too cold.
And when it's too hot, it'll rip the skin.
If it's too cold, your
too cold,
feathers don't come off.
Feathers don't come off. So there's a very fine sweet spot
Right.
that you want to hit. And so you're saying that was 142 degrees
That's what
for the other day.
we've found so far. I think we can dial it in just a shade more.
Yeah.
But some of that is also how long the bird is in the scald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 20 seconds?
So I was doing about 45 to 50 seconds.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know,
Before you took it out and put it into the defeather?
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you dunk. So actually what you do is you take some dish soap. So as it's heating up, you fill the scalder with water, it's heating up. You can put some dish soap in there. And I just mean a small amount, maybe a couple of drops.
Like
Is that what you did?
Drops, 2-3
Yeah.
drops. Well, because we use a concentrate.
Yeah, so I think it's probably better to use something like Dawn dish soap because of its effects on, the reason you use soap is to allow the water to puncture the water wicking effects of their feathers.
Yeah.
And so soap kind of does that pretty well. It breaks that surface tension. And I think Dawn dish soap would probably work the best. We were using something called pure Castile soap, which is, Castile soap is what's known as true soap. So it's a natural biodegradable soap that has nothing synthetic in it. So it's actually the soap that was used before, I don't know, all these manufacturer companies use chemicals to create soap, like Dawn. So I feel like if we're going through this whole process of raising chickens regeneratively and we're not using chemicals of any kind and we're trying to be as healthy, both for the chickens, but also for us as we consume them, and we're going through all these hoops and ladders to make everything safe and nutritious, only to put like some chemicals like Dawn dish soap, which is neon blue and has all these fragrances in it.
Right.
Even though it's just a couple of drops, I know it's not a big deal, but I just feel like if, the alternative is Castile soap, which probably doesn't work as well, but it does work, it does help. And I think the downside is that it creates that little foam, that froth on the top,
Yeah.
but I think that's a minor trade-off. So that's the only reason why I like to use Castile soap. And so because of that, you take the chicken, you hold it by its feet, you're wearing some like rubber insulated gloves.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just dunk it into the water and you hold it down for 45 to 50 seconds.
Yeah.
And
A couple times in and out.
yeah, you do that to help break the surface tension of the feathers. And then you pull it out, let the water drain off a little bit, and then you bring it over to the defeatherer.
So, which also, the defeatherer, this is the first time we've used this one.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention that when you take it out of the scalder, as it's dripping the water, you can do a feather test. So you take some of the feathers, just a small portion, and then you see how easily they come out. And they should just pull right out. And if they pull right out, then you know that you're golden and you can move on.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
So, and then the other test, because the feet are in the water as you're doing this, around the ankle or upper leg, if you do that and you feel the skin move around on it, you know that that layer is loose enough that it'll come off.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. So then moving on to the scalder, which is the defeatherer. Both of these are, both the scalder and the defeatherer are new equipment that we have, and it's the first time we've used them. But okay, yeah, the defeatherer.
Oh. We immediately found out something we don't like about the defeatherer. And that's when you put it on concrete, none of those casters have locking wheels. So it's just doing this.
That thing just,
Which is just blows my mind that it doesn't have locks on the casters.
So we had to put that in the grass. But I was just like,
Yeah,
you got to be kidding me, because it's basically
really moving. Yeah.
yeah, it's a washing machine drum basically with little rubber fingers on it that flick off all the feathers for you. That's
Yeah.
It's basically what it is. So it's moving, and then as you have 7 pounds of bird bouncing around in there,
Yeah.
it's a lot of movement.
It takes the feathers off.
Yeah.
But how well did it work?
It worked pretty good. We still need to do the QA process is something that we need to fine tune. The quality assurance, so going through and making sure all the feathers are out, all the little pin feathers.
Which is to be expected. I don't think
Right.
any defeatherer would eliminate the need to go through and pick off pin feathers, but you're right.
But how complete did it? I mean, other than those, like the pin feathers on the tail,
I think it was like
How
98,
complete did it do?
98%
It was
complete.
it was
Yeah.
the best skull defeather that we've had.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
great to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
So,
not a whole lot then of time
No.
was had
Right.
to go, like you said, the QA process, but that's at the end, isn't it?
yes.
QA process.
So the typical problem areas, you know, between the leg and
Yeah, the wings and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
the
Yeah.
between areas were the problem areas,
Yeah.
which is to be expected.
Okay. All right.
And so we're using I don't know what the exact model is, but the one we got was a Vivor electric
Yep. And then
110
the
volt.
Scolder is the Stromberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is
14.2 gallon.
okay.
14.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14.5. Okay.
We got it from strombergerschickens.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also a 110 volt, so you can just plug it into any outlet, which he had it plugged into an extension cord, which was plugged into the outlet. And as we were cleaning everything up, it like fused to the extension cord. I don't think he had a good quality cord, so that's
apparently the
something to keep in
ground
mind.
Was missing out of one of the ends,
Okay.
so it fused to the extension cord. The two ends, they fused together. I got them apart.
Did it damage the?
No,
No.
but it's something to keep in mind if you're using one of these scalding machines and you have to use an extension cord. Make sure you're using a heavy-duty quality extension cord.
Yeah.
Not a cheapie that came with your house 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So one
Alright,
nice
okay.
thing about the Scalder is that it has a dial thermometer, and the whole thing's electric, and so I think it auto regulates the temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's about 1 to 2 chickens too.
Did you find that the setting was consistent with your? You had a manual reader of some sort.
Right.
Were they relatively consistent?
Yeah.
Seem to be.
Okay, that's good too. Because oftentimes I've read that the thermometer or the thermostat control on the unit is typically not where it needs to be. You think you're at 142 degrees according to the thermostat, but you're plus or minus sometimes. So good. I'm glad to hear that it was close.
Yeah. So
The biggest problem with the Scalder is that it just takes forever to heat up, but you are heating up 14.5 gallons of water, so I guess that's to be expected.
Yeah.
right.
And if you're using well water, then then it was cold
So
coming out of the ground.
this is something that I just thought of. Since we're gonna have the turkey fryer set up on hand with propane, we can just heat up full buckets of water with the propane and dump them in there and
Right.
just speed up that process more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So you're
there's
not sucking as much electricity that way. too.
right. So there's some things we can do to increase our production time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Right. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner.
Also, still on the Scalder, but I think one other thing to keep in mind is that ours didn't come with a stand of any kind, so we had to prop it up. He used what is it, a roller of some kind?
It's a wire spool.
Yeah, a spool. So you had it sitting on top of a
Smaller one.
spool. They sell stands for it, but it's not worth it. You can just find something to set it on top of, so you're not.
Especially if that worked for you.
It worked.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It also drains insanely slow.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
It's
So-
not a huge deal.
yeah, it's not really a
Yeah.
big deal, but
All right. So after you defeathered it, what happened then?
well, on the defeatherer, real quick, I don't think we mentioned that you want to, when you turn it on and it starts spinning, you take a hose, a garden hose, and you spray the inside as it's spinning, and that'll help, I guess, with the friction and just to loosen up the feathers and collect the feathers so that they all flow down to the base and then out shoot at the bottom, so all the feathers don't get clogged up inside the drum. So you're just wanting to spray the chicken and the inside of it as it's on.
Yeah.
And it takes about, I had it spinning for about 30 seconds to about a minute.
Okay. And then how did the shoot, all the feathers, did they exit? I mean, did they mostly exit?
Yeah, I didn't have any
They
problems.
didn't get clogged up or anything like that? Okay, good.
It wouldn't be a bad thing. So It would not be a bad idea to have a stand for that as well, and a bucket with holes, drain holes in it. So 6 birds creates a good amount of feathers. If we're doing 25, we're going to get to a point where you're going to be moving feathers out of the way.
Yeah.
So if you have it up on a stand or something to elevate it, and then a bucket or something to put them in.
Underneath, that goes underneath the chute.
Right.
Yeah, okay. And then with drains, so it just drains the water out. and you
Drains the
just let
water,
yeah,
catches all your feathers.
that makes good sense.
Just simple,
Yeah.
makes cleanup easier.
Yeah.
And
You can also just take a rake and just kind of like every once in a while, just rake them
Just
off to
rake
the
'em off,
side.
yeah.
But
Okay, good. That sounds like that worked pretty well then.
it worked very well.
Good, good, good.
So
after the whole thing is defeathered and you have your bald chicken, then I brought it over to Kevin. Or actually, I guess I just let you. I kept it in the defeatherer, then I just had him whenever he was ready. He just went over and grabbed the chicken, and that's when your process starts.
yeah.
So start with your setup, I guess, and then
So we have a industrial grade stainless steel table that's in the garage. Couple different bins with ice in them, so you can put your parts that you're keeping, your parts that you're not keeping off to the side. I had a pair of meat scissors and a boning knife, right? That's what that one's called. That's pretty much it. And then another hose on the side, so as I need to rinse off the table, wash out the bird, I have that on hand.
Oh, good, good.
Yep. It's in the garage, so much better than on the back side of the garage.
Why was it so much better?
1, we're in the shade. 2, you're not standing on pokey rocks and trip hazards are minimized. It's not as crammed. Like, we're not on top of each other at all,
Yeah, yeah.
which is nice.
Well, the shade was a big deal.
Shade is a very big deal, especially if we start doing this in August.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, you got to keep things iced.
Got to keep
and-
things
and
iced.
Having direct sunlight on it, it's just things dry out and
Well, and
just gotta-
controlling the temperature of that bird, chicken meat, as like
very important.
the
yeah.
more you can control that, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So good. Well, I'm glad you were able to do that.
Yeah, it was a lot
Do that
better.
then. Yeah.
So for me, the first thing that I do is I cut the feet off, which do I need to go into detail on how we cut feet off and do all that? I don't think so. There's a video of us doing it.
yeah, actually, I can't remember. I think I made a long form video, and then also there's a short, like 60-second video that
Right.
explains how to eviscerate a chicken pretty quickly.
Which is great because I had to refer to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I could not remember exactly which step was which.
Yeah.
After I cut off the legs, go to the head, cut that off, skin up the neck, find the windpipe and trachea, right? No? Okay. Boy,
Well,
I'm going to mess all the real names of these things up.
How many gallons do you put in do you water the chestnuts? Was it a half gallon or was it 2 gallons?
2 gallons. 2 gallons in 20 seconds. It's a pretty phenomenal flow rate for that little thing.
yeah, no kidding.
Jerk.
All right.
So, anyways, you separate the windpipe and the trachea from the actual neck, and then you have the crawl or crop. Crawl?
Same thing.
Okay. You have that, which is super hard to find when you're not used to finding it because it is the exact same color of the skin. And actually, let's go back to this. That is where some of the food gets stored in there. And that is one of the reasons why you hold food from the bird 12 hours prior to slaughter. Your digestive system and tract is as clean as it is going to get to reduce any kind of contamination in the process. Last thing you want is bile, feces in your slaughter process. So you separate that and put that with your trachea and your airway. Cut off the neck, and then I flip over the bird so it's on its back. Trying to think how I do this. flip the bird over on its back, and I take the, what is it called now?
The oil gland?
The oil, no, I take the oil gland off at the same time that I take the vent out.
Okay, I'm just not sure
Right.
what you're wanting to say next.
The vent is the word I was looking for.
Okay.
So the vent is where the egg comes out, the poop comes out, pee, all of it comes out the same hole. So take that and the oil gland and the tail, all of it off. And then make an incision on either side so I can get my hand in and remove all the viscera.
Visceral.
See, I'm glad you guys are here to make me at least sound dumb. I don't need help.
So you go in there, you put your hand in.
Yep, whole hand in there, and as you're going in, you're kind of sweeping the sides, and it's super hard to do, very tight area, but you're sweeping the sides and getting everything loosened up and getting as high in there as you can so you can pull everything out together, hopefully. I never got everything in one swoop. Not once. I was able to get the lungs and the heart all together once, which I was very happy with.
Yeah.
So the lungs are really hard to get to, but the lungs and the heart, they come out. And then lastly, the airway and the trachea and the craw all come out.
All pull out.
Yeah, all come out. And then you just rinse out the bird and go put it in cold storage, which we need to work on that, getting a bin and a system set up where we can get the bird as quickly as possible down to 34 degrees.
Okay, so you've got the visceral.
Yep.
What did you keep and what did you toss?
The heart, the gizzard, the liver, that's it. That's what you keep. You can clean out the gizzard, super easy, but everything else goes into the waste bin.
And then
What is the little green thing called?
So bile?
The bile sac?
Yeah, I guess for lack of a better term, there's a green sac
Greenish,
connected to
blackish, to the liver.
the liver, and
Yep.
you've got to separate that. You don't want to puncture it.
Right. You just throw all that away, basically.
Yeah, and then all that goes.
Yep. So all that goes into your waste bin. You don't have to put your heads in there. I put the heads in there.
Okay, but then the organ meat you put in ice.
Yep. Put that with the feet and everything. All that gets separated. And at the end of the process, which we'll go through, you clean out the gizzard and.
Yep.
Yep.
Good.
So, but yeah, definitely need to work on a better system to get the birds down to temp
Yeah,
faster.
that was, I think, one of our main takeaways from that day.
So we just need to have a bin with ice and
Prefer-
water.
Preferably insulated, more ice than water. We had more water than ice, which was a mistake.
Yeah.
And then a drying rack.
Yeah, we had to improvise with a table and some towels, so we didn't really think that through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because so after they're in cold storage and you bring them down to temp, and then you're ready to do this, you can move them out of cold storage and put them on a drying rack so that they dry out and there's not as much moisture on the carcass of the chicken, and then that helps for when the next step, which is to package them up. And we were using heat shrink bags, so we got them nice and dry before we went on to that process.
Right.
And then we also did the QA. So there's a
Yes.
QA step in between
So
there.
as they were on the table and they were drying out, we were going through and doing QA.
Yep. And so when we say QA, we're talking about pin feathers, removing the pin feathers, making sure the inside is all nice and cleaned out.
Yep.
No lungs are left in. Those kinds of little things.
Yes.
Just to make sure from a quality point of view, the bird's ready to be consumed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ideally, the QA is done before they actually go into the cold bath, I think. But
Well, I know we saw from another guy that we had observed while they were in the cold bath, there was a guy there
just
pulling them out of the cold bath and pulling all those pin feathers out. Remember, we have a tool. Did we
have one?
Yes, we have one of those tools. It was a Christmas gift 2 years ago for you.
Oh, the red thing, or orange.
I
one of the two.
don't know what color it is, but anyway, it's a pin feather removal device.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had one.
Yeah. It's two little metal rods. I think they spin. And
Huh.
just
Yeah,
That's cool. I remember saying as we were doing that, I was like, this is the worst part of the whole process, is going through getting the pin feathers.
But you want to go through that process to make sure that you got a good clean bird.
Right.
Okay, so now we got a clean bird
And a dry bird
and a dry bird.
and a QA bird.
Okay.
Yeah, so then this is where we made another mistake, because honestly, this whole process up until this point went very smoothly because of our new equipment, and it went very fast. So I think I have it written down somewhere.
Relatively. For us, it went really
Yeah,
fast.
for us, yeah, thank you. And we started the whole process at 1:30, and then we finished evisceration at 3. Again, it's 6 birds, but it was
Yeah, but still,
it went pretty
hour and a
well.
half.
Yeah. 2 people, hour and a half.
But then, from this point on to when we actually finished, we didn't get finished until 5:30.
Right.
And so this is the part that just dragged out for us, because I don't know, we have a few thoughts on how to make this a little bit more streamlined, but I think the first mistake we made was, at this point, we had to bring the temperature of the water from 140, what was at 142, up to 180 degrees,
In the scolder.
because that's the temperature you need for the heat shrink bags to work.
Oh.
And so, because of the nature of the scolder, we turned the dial up, and we were just waiting for, it was about 45 minutes until we came to the realization that we have a couple things. We could have been using the poultry or the turkey fryer
But we were
to
out of
heat up the
propane.
water, but you were out of propane. And then we realized, well, we don't need this to be full of water, so we can just empty out half of it and it'll heat up faster, which it did. So, but it still took another,
Yeah.
half an hour for it to get up to temp. So we wasted about an hour and a half on that.
Just waiting on water to get warm.
Yeah. And then, okay, so once that was all settled, we take these heat shrink bags, and this is the first time we were ever doing this, because before we were using vacuum sealed bags. We had a cheap vacuum sealer.
Right.
And that works, I think, for organs and smaller things. It does not work for the whole bird chicken. And so for that, unfortunately, you got to use the heat shrink bags. And I say unfortunately because I don't like the idea of heating plastic and water that's touching your food because of all the microplastics and BPAs and
We just went through all
PFAS,
this process, right?
PFAS and all that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we heat plastic and shrink it to the chicken.
Unfortunately, I've done a lot of, I'm not going to say extensive, but I've done some research and I just can't find a single solution other than like butcher paper. But even
That's
that,
what I was thinking, butcher paper.
yeah, even
Yeah.
that, I don't know that we can sell. I don't know. It comes with more problems. So we tried vacuum or heat shrink bags for the first time, and it's a very simple process. You take your bird and you put it in the bag. Our bags came with a straw, so you put the straw. I guess you put the bird in the bag, head down. Was it head down?
Yes.
Okay, and then you put the straw into the hole of the carcass, and then you zip tie it shut with the straw hanging out, and then you take the bag and you dunk it into the 180-degree water for 10 seconds?
5 seconds.
It was 5 seconds, that's right. And then, yeah, it only takes 5 seconds, and then you take it out, and then I guess as you take it out, as it's cooling, that's when it shrinks, and that takes another 10 to 15 seconds.
And the straw's in there to pull all
Yeah,
the
and then
extra
as
air
it's
out.
shrinking, you can like pull the straw out and then tighten the zip tie, and then that's how you have it enclosed. It wasn't working very well for us, and maybe it's because of the temperature of the water.
I
But
think it was because of the temperature of the chickens.
oh,
Right.
yeah,
The colder that chicken is, it's going to,
that's a good point.
help suck that air out even more.
Yeah, so we need to keep that in mind for next time too, because I just don't think it was good enough to package.
Right.
I feel like a customer probably wouldn't like that.
Right.
It was fine. It was pretty loose.
It
The
was
package.
Way better than when we tried to vacuum.
It was the best attempt yet, but it was just, I felt like it was too loose to be like considered a quality product. I don't know, but
Okay, we're gonna have to test that process before.
Correct.
Okay. Well, good. All right. So
So-
that gets it packaged.
That gets it packaged. Then we ran into another issue, and that is I had no AAA batteries.
yeah. So now we wanted to know how much they weighed, and we had the scale there, because the last step in the whole process is to weigh them and see how much, I don't know, how much money you're going to make on these things. And yeah, Kevin didn't have any batteries, so we couldn't weigh them.
So the two birds that I have, One was 6 pounds, 12.4 ounces, and the other one was 6 pounds, 7.5 ounces.
Okay.
So, you know, 6.5, almost 7 pound birds.
Yeah.
For the two that I have.
Huh. Did you weigh any?
I did not.
There was one
haven't
bird
bought
that was
triple weight.
significantly heavier than the other one. I'm curious to know what that one was.
Cake.
But yeah, but it gives you a sense of how much they
Right.
were weighing.
Yeah, I don't even want to say this because it's so embarrassing, but the first 2 times we did this, I think they were around, we had some that were sub 2 pounds.
Yeah, you remember our
Right.
max weight was 3 pounds and
right.
a couple of ounces.
Yeah.
But you know, but we knew that,
They were the wrong species, but
and we knew that also.
Right.
We just wanted to go through the process of growing them, and then going through the evisceration process, and we did, and we learned a lot, and we figured out the equipment that we needed, and so by the time we're ready to sell them to the customers, we'll have a good process in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, once I started doing the evisceration and everything, it kind of just all came back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I needed to be looking for, where I needed to be cutting, where I needed to be careful.
Yeah.
That was the best I'd felt about evisceration. For
Yeah.
sure.
So we haven't established our muscle memory, so to speak,
Not at all.
in this whole process. And once we get going and we kind of all know what our particular jobs are, and we can make it work a lot better and a lot faster. And just as long as we've captured the issues that need to be resolved and then work to resolve those beforehand, then we're good. And make sure we have AAA batteries.
Right.
yeah. A few other things to note about, I made some notes on like things to improve. In addition to what we've already talked about, I know someone mentioned we needed like a knife sharpener.
Yes, I mentioned that. And it would also be nice to have one of those little knife scabbard things that you can hang on your belt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially out by you.
Yeah.
As
I think
that
we could
way you're
both use
not
that.
putting it on a table or putting it somewhere and it's dropping on the ground. Like, minimize the sharp things being left places.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be nice to have a cutting knife, or sorry, a cutting glove, because of the same thing. Speaking of gloves, nitrile gloves. We didn't. Oh, you had some of those, but he bought little kid size ones, and they
They're
don't fit.
not little kid. They fit fine.
The Kevin size gloves. Sorry.
He had a hard time getting them on his hands. Once they were on your hands, they fit great.
Yeah, but they were all tattered at the end, and
But if you remember last year, it was the same exact process. I couldn't get into them. Yeah.
Well, your hands are huge.
Yeah. But the point is, though, when we're trying to do this is not the time to
Yes.
discover that we have, these gloves that aren't going to fit us.
all these little things
Those have
that
to
we
be
discover.
right. And I'm good. I'm glad you got that captured.
Also, a timer would have been nice. I just ended up using my watch to time the scalding,
Thanks,
because that is
Mom.
kind of a precise. You want to get that down to like within like plus or minus 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah. And we do have a
Yeah, we
Have a
have one. I
timer.
just didn't
Yeah.
have it on
Okay,
hand
yeah,
at the time. I think so. Better cooling options in general, but specifically for the organ meats that are in those bins, because again, we were kind of running low on ice, and I just felt like towards the end they probably sat out a little longer than I wanted. But also, we're just using them for dog food anyway.
Oh, we did not go over how to clean out the gizzard.
Oh yeah, yeah. The gizzard is the only one that you really have to like process a little bit more, and so I found you can use a knife, but I ended up using those shears, and those were so much easier.
Oh,
So
were they? Yeah.
all I took is
Because I used the knife last time.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the shears. I mean, so you take on the gizzard, you have to open it up essentially, and there's a hole at the top, and I just took the end of the shears into the hole, and I just cut along the outside of it, because it's kind of like it's like a disc shape. So on the perimeter of the, so to speak, that's where I was cutting along it.
Okay.
And then you just open it up, and there's a bunch of grass and rocks and stuff in there, and you just take that out and rinse it off. And you can, there's like a yellow membrane, which is the inside of it, that the book I was reading said to take that off, but since it's dog food,
Yeah.
I just left that on. So it's kind of up to you if you want to do that. But it's pretty easy. Once you get the hang of it, it's super easy to do.
Good. Good. Yeah.
There's one more thing. So I don't think I mentioned this before. So when you take the bird, and before you put it into the bag, the heat shrink bag, I saw someone on a video, they have this neat trick where you take the skin around it and you cut a slit into it,
And you tuck the
and then you
legs.
tuck the legs into that slit, and that holds the legs down. Because another problem that we were having is the legs were sticking up, and so even if the bag were to shrink the way it was supposed to, those legs create too much of a gap that it doesn't hold tight. So this keeps the legs down, makes it more compact, and will shrink it a little bit better. So that's another thing.
Yeah,
And it's better for presentation.
Oh yeah,
It looks prettier.
sure. Yeah, that's a big one too. Yeah, so I think that was the last one. Yeah, I mean, it just takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Once again, it is very important to note that we are not experts.
no. And I still think it's good to,
Tom, quit
for
putting
like
it in.
someone like beginners like us to kind of explain our process, because we can share all the learning aspects of it so that others can avoid those mistakes, and hopefully it'll be better for them too.
Yeah.
Well, everyone who's processing them well were beginners one time.
Right.
You know, so we're all beginners at some point, and so we're at that point. We're just trying to share as best we can so that people can learn from us as well.
I mean, at max, there's 3 of us processing. So our ability to get through 100 birds is not, I don't know if we'll ever get to a point where the 3 of us can do 100 birds in a day.
Oh, I think we can. I think we will. We'll get there. It's just a matter of
Honing our
time.
process
Yeah,
and our
we got to
skills.
hone the process, have everything in place, know what we're doing, you know, because once you get that battle rhythm going and people are comfortable in their positions that they've got, yeah, you can make it work, and we'll get there. It's just we got to be patient with ourselves yet again. Yeah,
We're good at that.
yeah. Well, no, we're not.
Not at all. Yeah. There's been multiple times where we've talked about how we don't have patience today.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for now. We'll give you guys another update next week and tell you all about the mistakes we're going to make in this next coming up week. And until then, if you made it this far, go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.